graduating from Tech Boston. Growing up, William was always driven towards giving back and began volunteering for local organizations and nonprofits. Eventually, he joined his local neighborhood civic association, where he collaborated with other residents to better his community and advocate for residents. Choosing to enter a career in public service, William went to work for the Boston Public School System, where he spent 6 years working as a technology specialist. After leaving BPS, William moved to a local conservatory nonprofit where he currently serves as IT director. William decided to run for office because he believes the residents of District 6 deserve a city councilor who is committed to fighting for them. If elected, he would bring the council's focus back where it should be, on constituent services, ensuring he is active and present in every part of the district, fighting for the issues important to him. William currently lives in West Roxbury with his wife Dominique and their dog Brandy. So, good morning, William.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
How's the race?
It is busy.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of work. 5 more days. Just gotta push through and give it all I have.
So this is not the first time you've run for office, correct?
Correct. I ran for city council at large before. And that was kind of getting a feel for how a campaign is run, bringing attention to some of the issues facing our community.
Mm-hmm.
And so this time around, jumped in the race, and I think we've got a real good shot of winning this thing.
That's good. That's good. Tell me, what made you decide to jump into the race?
Yeah, so I got involved in this race, about a year ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And after talking with residents and just seeing how things were playing out myself, just wasn't happy with the current leadership. I felt that the district deserved a counselor who was active and present in all areas of the district, always showing up, speaking with residents, and putting constituent services first.
Mm-hmm.
A district counselor can make a big difference in the lives of their residents and improve the quality of life just by, listening and helping out with the little things, like potholes, trash getting taken out, a street lights out, just being there and present and listening to the residents and taking care of their concerns.
What do you think about elected school committee?
I would be in favor of like a hybrid model. I don't want to see us completely politicize education, but I also at the same time think that parents should have a voice in who's on the school committee. So I would be in favor of an elected committee. I mean hybrid. Sorry.
Hybrid. So, when you say hybrid, who do you think should have the higher power?
I think it should be equally shared. So mayor appoints a number of members, and the people elect a number of members.
Mm-hmm. But there's going to be an odd number because when you have boards, you always have to have an odd number in case there's a tie.
Yeah.
So, okay. What about the O'Brien being moved to West Roxbury?
I mean, so with that there's good and bad. So the O'Brien, they deserve their own building. They've been sharing a building with Madison Park for a while. They deserve an updated facility. I think it's good for District 6 to have a high quality high school in the district, but I am concerned about who it's the kids who's it's going to affect, like with commute times, because West Roxbury isn't in the center of the city. It's on the border of Dedham. So you have kids from East Boston, Charlestown, who have to make that commute. That's going to be tough. A lot of kids that live here in this community go to the O'Brien, so it might be a tough commute for them. I would like to see a commuter rail stop put in over by the school to make it easier for the kids on the other side of the city, like Charlestown and East Boston.
I've heard the mayor say that they're gonna have shuttles.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And the shuttles they're good, but it's still a commute time. It's you're going to have shuttle buses waiting in traffic. I mean, we have a transportation issue and infrastructure problem, and you know we're just if you're on the roads, you're going to be stuck in traffic during the rush hour commutes.
Especially when we have bike lanes now, and then we have like parking spaces in the middle of the street. I don't know I don't understand that design. I don't know how that's helping. And then they want to put a similar bus line down Blue Hill Ave. Who thinks of these things? Who plans these things?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think bike lanes work everywhere. Bus lanes, they don't work everywhere. I think they are important in trying to like keep certain like keep riders safe, but they don't work on all streets.
How
I
are
mean,
riders gonna be safe when they gotta get in the middle of the street to get on the bus?
well, yeah, with the bike lanes, I mean bus lanes, yeah, you gotta cross the street, gotta stand in the middle of the street. Yeah, I mean, I know that what is it? Columbus Ave has those center bus lanes. I'm hearing there's a lot of accidents, cars hitting like the median and flipping.
It to me, I don't. It doesn't make any sense. I know I wasn't part of that community meeting because I would have definitely said no to that for real. Um, so tell me, what are some of the things that you saw that you didn't like that made you say, okay, I'm gonna step in again? What are some of the things that you would like to see that you would like to change or increase or decrease?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we need to be fighting for better education for our kids. I understand college isn't for everybody, so I'd like to see more trade vocational programs throughout our high schools. We have a difference in just if you look at District 6 alone, from West Roxbury all the way to Eggleston Square, there's people who walk out of their houses in Eggleston Square and they're saying they don't know if they're going to make it home that day. Like, that's a problem. And that's a huge discrepancy from the other side of the district in West Roxbury, where someone like me, I walk out of my house and I feel good. Like, I don't have to have that fear anymore from when I was living over here. And I want everybody to feel that way. You should be able to go outside all hours of the day, enjoy yourself, go for a walk, and not have to fear that you're gonna make it back to your house safely that day. That's a problem, and we need to be addressing that.
What would be some of the ways that you think that should be addressed? Like, I understand that there was a cadet class that just graduated. I think it was last week. So what would you do differently? I mean, what would you like to see differently done in around policing, community policing?
Yeah, so I think that with Boston Police, we have a recruitment issue. We're losing a lot of officers to retirement, and just the job isn't appealing anymore. So you don't have a lot of people who are like applying for it and taking the exam. So,
but it is a good job. It is a good career, and if you go in there with the right heart, mind, and soul, you can make changes. You can help.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, but some of it is the rhetoric that comes out of, and some of this rhetoric from some of our counselors who, we are saying a lot of negative things about our police. We're not really like making people want to do the job because they feel like they've got a target on them. But we do need police reform at the same time, and we can be doing things that are better. We could have alternative responses, to different things, like to certain calls, like have mental health workers respond, or we don't always have to have an armed officer respond to a call.
Right. And trauma is really bad in our community, and so how do we, there's so much going on with our communities. Well, I mean, like you're in West Roxbury, so That's different. West Roxbury's treatment is different than Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mattapan's treatment. The way they're treated, and people don't understand that we're treated different like that because we don't vote. You say your vote don't count. The only time your vote don't count is when you don't cast it, and that's why we have been. My organization has been working with Mass Vote and Mass Vote the Table to get out the vote, to let people know that your vote do count. Even if you don't like any of the candidates, blank them. You don't have to vote for anybody, but you do have to go in and let them know that you came in. And really, they count the blanks too. So if one district gets gets a lot of blanks, that should say something to that candidate.
And you're absolutely right. Blanking your ballot is a form of voting. It shows up that you came in, you voted.
You didn't like none of the candidates.
Exactly.
Not only that, and something else that I don't think some of our voters don't know about. We do have 4 at-large city councilors. We have 8 that are running. But you don't have to pick 4. You can pick 1, you can pick 2, you can pick 3, or you can pick 4. So it's up to you to decide. You may like this one and may not like the other one. You may want that one and may not want the other one. But remember, you do have 4 choices, but you don't have to use them all. So I want our listeners to be well aware of that. So tell me, what is your take on derestriction, and how long do you think derestriction should last?
So I think that it lasts too long right now. I think that it's a good way to help bridge that generational wealth gap. But when you're tying people and not letting them make any sort of profit off of their homes, and they may have put work into their homes, and they've lived in their homes, and they've paid a mortgage. If they decide they want to sell, then I think that they should be able to make some sort of profit off of that.
Exactly, especially since they've been paying into it. Yeah. But how long? Because I've heard from 20 years, 30 years to 50 years. And I think that to me doesn't make any good sense. Why would you have someone tied up into a property that they're really never going to own? That's basically what it is. Because if you had the property for 20 years and you can't go and get any equity out, if you want to send your child to school, you can't, because you're tied into this deed restriction. And now I understand that they want to take it from 20 or 30 years and move it up to 50 years. That's just criminal.
It is, and I've heard that same thing. I think it's way too long as it is, and to increase it, we're going backwards. It should be getting closer to 10 years, I think. But
yeah, 10. I would say 10 should be the maximum. I hear that the city, they give people they give people help and support, closing costs, maybe down payment assistance, maybe. However, just because they help and give assistance doesn't mean that a person should have to be tied into these properties for a long time, for what years and years and years. I understand there's about 2,000 homeowners that are facing this, that are going through this, and so I think that's something that needs to be addressed. I am telling you, I am really sick and tired of all this construction that is going on in our community, and we are not doing the work. When I say we, I mean black and brown people. I don't know what they're doing to these sidewalks. They're making them wider. They're making them, so that all of a sudden there's a sidewalk. There's a piece of a sidewalk on the street. That to me doesn't make any sense. We live in a city where people need cars. People have kids. I think I may have seen, and I'm not even exaggerating, maybe 3 people use a bike lane on American Legion Highway. It just doesn't make any sense. Another thing is, they put them up, they tear them down. They put them up, they knock them down. So one day you go by there, they're all knocked down. The next day you go, they're all up again. You go back next week, they're all down. What kind of insanity is that? You just keep putting the stuff back up over and over? I mean, really, we got some really serious issues down City Hall. And I'm telling you, we got some problems. So it's the bike lanes and stuff. That's crazy, because the way to me it looks like you're definitely taking away at least one lane of traffic, and so of course traffic is gonna be slow. It's I don't know. I don't even know who thinks of stuff like this, but they should go back to the drawing board.
And I lived on American Legion Highway my entire life until I moved, to West Roxbury a few years ago. But yeah, I mean, I never see anyone riding their bikes on American Legion Highway. Then come wintertime, the plow comes and it knocks them all down, and yeah. So,
but some of them get knocked down without no snowplow.
Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah, you have cars running over them.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about the 851 units at the lineage at the Shattuck?
Yes, I mean that's the issue of substance abuse and recovery. It's a personal issue for me because my sister had substance abuse problems and eventually took her life when I was
Sorry to
15
hear
years
that.
old. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we need to be doing everything that we can to help people get the services that they need, but I oppose the current scope of the Shattuck project. I think 850 plus beds is just way too much, serving up to 2,000 people. This is a regional issue. We need to have services scattered out throughout the region in smaller pockets so that you have patients are able to get individual care, and that's more effective. I do think that the housing first model works, making sure that people are in a stable living environment and feel comfortable for them to be able to fully accept help. But I oppose what they're doing at the Shattuck. I think it's going to do very little to actually solve the problem and simply relocate Mass and Cass to Franklin Park.
Yeah. So, all right. So, the school situation. Now, I had Aaron Murphy on my show week before last. And from what we understood, there were like 47,000 students, Boston Public School students, right? However, she says that 22,000 of them students aren't even showing up in school. So my question was, why do we have almost a $2 billion budget if you only got 25,000 children coming to that school? What happened to truancy? What happened to people checking to see if people coming to school? You mean to tell me I need to really fact check this to find out if this is really true. Because if this is really true, that's a problem. So you put out a budget, your budget from 24-25 is going to be, it's what, 1 point something billion. The budget you just put out, that you just approved in June. So the budget went up. Basically, I thought based on how many students and stuff you had. However, if you got 47 students that are supposed to be in school and only 25,000 are making it to school, that's a problem. That's a real problem, because what are you doing with all that money? Where's that money going? And I think that's something that needs to be investigated. Because it just doesn't that's not good math to me. And I know I ran the payroll for the city for almost 20 years, and they had issues with Boston Public Schools then, the way they paid people. I guarantee you, every beginning of the school year and every end of the school year, there is overpayment. People, the way the contract is, it's set up so that you may get a contract and you may get a signed contract, but you may not even show up and you still get paid. They're called reversals, and it's a mess, and it happens. It happens, and it seems like nobody can do anything about it. I think this Boston Public School budget needs to be looked at and really what is needed. I mean, what are you all doing with this money? Because you can't tell me if I budgeted for 47,000 students and I only got 25,000 showing up. Where is what? Something's wrong. Something is really wrong. And I know with COVID, there was a lot of stuff that was going on. Kids weren't coming or they weren't turning on their cameras or anything. But change got to come for real. Change got to come.
Yeah, no,
We got a caller? Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Minister Priscilla. How are you?
I'm good, Eric. How you doing?
I'm doing good. And how are you, Mr. Kane?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I was listening, and I was listening right at the part where you guys were talking about the Shattuck. And I have a question for you. Have you ever had to go to the Shattuck for services?
I never had to go there for services, but I did go there to minister to some of the women that were there at the, they had I think it was a Kitty Dukakis clinic up there. And when my book first came out, I went up there to give out some of my books, talk about my books, and to minister to the ladies there. So I have been here to visit, but I never.
I have not been to the Shattuck for services.
So when I was incarcerated, that's one of the hospitals they took us to, and it's deplorable. So anything they can do to fix that, building-wise, I'm so wholeheartedly for it, because when inmates are shipped there to get substandard care because the building's dilapidated and everything else. So I'm actually for anything they can do to fix that up if they're going to continue to use it for what they're using it for.
So they wouldn't be continuing to use it for its what it is being used. It would be for recovery services, So they're changing the use of the building.
But even if they're using it for recovery services, the buildings as they are now are not, they're not meant to be inhabited. So if they're going to use it for that, I'm glad they're going to be doing the buildings over. At least the people have a clean place to go and a place that's not broken down. And right now, there's nothing for them to go to. So if they're not going to put it there, where?
Yeah, I mean, so I agree that the building is in bad shape. I've heard that. I think that when it comes to recovery services for that, we should be spreading it out throughout the region in smaller pockets and not just concentrate it in one area.
Yeah, I think 851 units is kind of little over the top. I was at one of the community meetings that they had, and they talked about, they had it kind of broken down like 205 units for this, 100 and something for this. They had it broken down, but still, I mean, it just seems like Franklin Park, they just want to take it and just do what they want to do with it. We know that Mayor Walsh gave $28 million to the Franklin Park coalition for Franklin Park. So we have that. Then we have the fact that they want to make White Stadium a soccer a soccer field. I also understand
women's pro soccer, yeah.
Right, and I also understand that is what the Boston Public Schools literally use for some of their buildings that don't have gyms and stuff. So I've actually
seen suburban schools use it as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they had a fire over there, and I think they did at White Stadium, and there's some other stuff that's going on, but I don't know if that's been finalized either. But one of the major problems I have with all this stuff is they come to the community in the 9th hour. They come to the community after they done did their little research, and they done put their little RFPs together, and then they come and they want to shove stuff down our throat. We're not taking that anymore. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and it doesn't make any sense. Come on, people. We got to wake up and understand what's going on in our community.
Are they still trying to shut that road down that goes down towards the Shattuck?
Which one?
That Circuit
The
Drive.
main road that goes down down by Franklin Park, the golf course, and down towards the Shattuck. I saw on one of the plans they wanted to close that road.
I'm sorry, I'm not listening. I was distracted. Which road?
I think he's talking about Circuit Drive.
Now, see, circuit is that the round road by the golf course and stuff? What that goes around?
Right.
Yeah, it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they close that? That's
I
the
don't know, but that
throughway.
was in one of the plans for them to close it.
That's the throughway from between Morton and Blue Hill Ave. So why would you close that?
I don't know, but that was originally on the plans.
Well, I know. I missed the last meeting because of the Black Men's Political Task Force, so I missed that meeting. However, I'm just saying that these things that are going on with all these issues that I just mentioned to William are really happening, and our community needs answers.
Right. Well, I'll continue to listen and I'll let you get back to it. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for calling, Brother Eric. So it is 9:30, and William's time is up. I thank you. I appreciate you for coming in, and I wish you the best on Tuesday.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All right. See you soon.
See ya.
All right. And so we are going to take a short break, and then we will bring Catherine Vitalin, who is a at-large city councilor. So let's bring her in and see what she has to say about all this stuff that's going on. I'm sorry. I forgot. Is Michelle out there? Yeah. I wanted one of you all to do Facebook and one of you all to do Instagram. Could you tell her? Which one do you do? Facebook. Okay, so I don't know if she does Facebook. I don't need both of you all to do it. I need one of y'all to do Instagram for me. All right. Okay, we are back. People Power with Priscilla. We are the people and we have the power. So my next guest this morning is Catherine Vital. Is that how you pronounce your name? Vitale. Okay, I will screw up your name. Sorry. And so we're here. She is an at-large city councilor candidate, and we are here to ask her some questions, to see, what her plans are, if she so should win, why is she running, and I want to ask, find out like what's going on, how you doing, and what made you decide to run for this at-large seat. I know it's overwhelming. Been there, done that. So tell us who you are.
So I am a single.
You can put your headphones on in case someone calls so you can hear, and talking to the mic.
Okay.
Tell us your name and your address and all that good stuff.
So I live in Codman Square, just around the corner from here, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a single homeschooling mom of 2, hence why my kids are in the waiting room right now. And I've been an activist for the past 3 years. I was a restaurant manager for 14 years. And when the pandemic hit, I lost both of my jobs that I had. And so that's when I became an activist. And I just, I figured when you're an activist, you can only do activism for so long before you have to take matters into your own hands and try to become a policymaker, right? So that's what I'm doing now. This is my first time running. I just want to make Boston a better place to live for everybody. I'm from Dorchester, born and raised, and I've been homeless 3 times over the past 10 years. And I feel like I have unique experiences that a lot of people don't have that run for office that would, give me like a different perspective when making policies in Boston.
We have a caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, sis. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Ty Williams. How you doing?
I'm great, fantastic, awesome, amazing, blessed, and highly favored.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Hey, you know what, sis? I have a problem, with, some of these candidates that are running. My problem is first, what have you done to run for city office to say, okay, you know what, I'm for the constituents? Because I think some of these candidates are being put in play to for these private companies to come in here and gentrify us out of our community. I think they're putting in folks who's going to be a yes, yes, yes all the way, and and not come to the community first to see what they want. As I drive around the city of Boston, I see Roxbury condos are going up like crazy to push families out of their homes.
Yep. Talk about it.
I think some of these candidates are here because the folks who want them in office need them in office to pass certain bills and ordinances for them, to keep doing what they're doing. Some of these folks who are running don't care about the people, don't want to know about the people, are just in there for their own pocket, for their own movement, for their own, okay, you know what, what's my next journey? There's one candidate who's only been there for a couple of months who took over District 8, who is now in the line of the pockets of one of the top developers in Mission Hill.
It's so sad that a lot of our politicians are being bought off, and that's why we have to do our due diligence. Okay, we have to support those who support us, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of them down there that support us. And those that do support us, we need to make sure we know who they are. We need to make sure that we support them. We need to make sure that we help them get back into office or elected into office. Because this is a shame and a disgrace. I don't know how long you've been listening, but I was asking Will some questions, which I'm getting ready to ask Catherine the same questions. Like the 851 units up in Franklin Park. The 50-year deed restriction, okay? We asked for elected school committee. Where is our elected school committee? Who wants the O'Brien school moved up to West Roxbury? Nobody. And so these are the things that we need to be talking about and need to be addressing. There's more going on than potholes and snow removal and trash removal, okay? That's what we need to be talking about, mass and cast, and what is going on down there, because it's ridiculous, and it's coming all up through Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mattapan. And so those are the questions that I want to ask. And how do you think you're gonna get? What is a 50-year deed restriction? Come on, people.
Let me tell you, right? See, the 50-year deed restriction, it stops folks from doing what they want to do with their own property.
Yep.
And it gets them frustrated to make them want to. I'm selling my property. I'm out of here. You know what? That's the whole line. That's the whole goal. Some of these pollutionaries, don't want to deal with the tough problems and the tough questions that are going on in our community. Because they're here for a show to say what they think people want to hear when when it's election time.
Yeah.
But once they're elected, that's
story.
it. They don't want to deal with it. It's like they don't want to challenge the beat.
Yeah. Well, those that have developers in their pockets, of course, they're not going to push the button. But hold on, Terrence. I think we have another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hey, listen, my name is Rob Burke. I'm not a resident of Boston, but I have worked with Catherine out in the streets. And I just want to ask, maybe she can differentiate herself from the rest of the government-type candidates of things like, since she's living what these people are talking about, Catherine, could you just tell the people the top three things what separates you from all these other government-type candidates? Thank you very much for allowing me to speak, sir.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Catherine. Answer this question.
Yeah, so I would say what separates me from them is that, for one, like the last caller said, I can't be bought or paid for by anybody. I'm not being controlled by anybody. So you definitely need to follow the money when you're looking at politicians. Whoever's funding them is usually who they're beholden to. We have some candidates that are beholden to the unions, the teachers union or the labor unions, and at the end of the day, they're going to do the work in favor of the unions, which is essentially not even Boston residents sometimes. So,
yep.
And then also, like I said, I've been homeless. I've lived in homeless shelters. I'm on Section 8 right now, and if I wasn't, I wouldn't be able to afford to live in Boston. And, you know, and
I know being homeless ain't no joke. I've been homeless too.
Right. And
I've lived in a homeless shelter, so it's not a nice thing.
I have family members, including my children's father, who have struggled with addiction. So, and actually been on Mass and Cass. You know, I've had the experience of having to drive through there yelling out people's names to find family members. So, you know, I'm from here, and I have a passion to want to help the people of the city of Boston because I am a person from the city of Boston who needs the help.
He said three things. Did you name all three?
And I mean, I homeschool my kids. I have a very different outlook on how education should go, and I'm against the new gender-bending sex ed curriculum that they're bringing into the schools that most people don't even know about. And, you know, I would rather educate the public on what's actually happening than, you know, I'm not focused on myself. I want to make sure that the people know what's going on. That's what's most important to me.
And the third thing?
Well, it was that I can't be paid for. Like the rest
okay.
of
So
them.
you can't be bought.
Yeah.
The fact that you've been through homelessness, and the fact that you homeschool your children.
Yes.
And so, but I don't think that really is separate you from a lot of different people. 'Cause a lot of people have been homeless. People, I mean, we hear some of the candidates talk about how they've been homeless, homeschooling. I mean, I believe that a lot of us need to just homeschool our kids because if the Boston Public, I don't know what Boston Public School is doing with the money, but they got almost $2 billion. They're supposed to have 47,000 children in school. They only got 25,000 coming. That's a major problem. I think I may even have to reach out to the Department of Justice to find out what's going on. Because there is something wrong with that picture. And I'm not going to stop talking about it till somebody give me an answer.
I am curious to know what the actual number of students enrolled is, because I know that when I took my kids out, I didn't officially unenroll them right when I took them out. And they were out for a year and a half before anybody caught up with me about it. And I was still getting emails as if they were enrolled. So the school districts get federal funding per student. I think they get like $24,000 a year per student from the federal government. So I actually think that they're not reporting that students are unenrolling.
I don't know if they're if they're unenrolling or they just ain't showing up. Because back in the day, we used to have, when we didn't come to school, we had truant's officers came and knocked on our door and wanted to know why we weren't in school, if we were sick or whatever. I haven't even heard no one mention a truant's officer. What do you think about that, Terrence?
You know what? They need truant officers in each school. Or if they don't have truant officers, they need somebody to monitor, who just that one person just to monitor if the students are in school. And if they're out of school for a lengthy period of time, then you know what, you contact the parent and you find out, okay, why is this child out of school? Maybe that parent needs help, and that's the thing that these school systems should be doing.
They used to have a program it's called like Homefront. It used to be with Pastor Hank not Hank, I forget his name, but he runs with Pastor Eugene Rivers. I forget his name. He took over Courtney Gray's position at Department of Public Health. But they used to have a program called Homefront, where the pastors and I think maybe a police officer, maybe someone else, used to actually go into the homes to find out, if the family needed services, what was going on with the family, and how would they be able to help them get services. I don't know what happened to that program, but if we got 22,000 Boston Public School students who are not coming to school, that's a problem, and somebody needs to investigate it. I don't know if we call the Attorney General, Andrew Campbell, if we call the governor, Maura Healey, or if we call Ayanna Pressley, our congresswoman, but somebody needs to do something about this. I mean, they're trying to cancel school debt, but we got 22,000 kids that ain't even going to school. Send them to Marcus Anthony Hall. We'll teach them.
Listen, there's a whole lot, and me and you, sis, we always talk about that pilot program.
Yes,
that
payment in lieu of taxes.
Exactly. It can really do something, in the city of Boston, because these universities and colleges and these hospitals are taking advantage of the kindness of Boston. They know they're supposed to pay their taxes, but once again, you have these pollutionaries, not enforcing it because, they're in their pocket. They're giving them what they want. They need to really investigate what's really going on.
Exactly.
Why our school systems are terrible. Why can't we get the resources and stuff that some of these other cities get?
Especially,
and we're a big city.
Especially Boston. Boston is the mecca of education.
The mecca.
Okay? We got the colleges. We got the hospitals, we got the finances, and we live in robbing Paul to pay Peter, and then John show up. And that doesn't make any sense. There's money. They got that money. And we're going to follow it, and we're going to find it, and we're going to get it. And I'm not an elected official. But we're going to do some investigation ourselves.
Boston has been sold land by land, street by street, and it's bad. It's really bad, and people really need to wake up to find out. I tell people are going to stay asleep until they're going to wake up and realize that they don't have a roof over their head. They're like, oh, what happened? Well, what happened is you were still asleep while they was making moves.
We could be putting together co-op housing. We could be putting together co-op work.
A whole lot of stuff.
But the bottom line is those that are bought, we need to call them out, and we need to put them out. That's how I feel about it. We the people, and we have the power, and we have to use it.
That's right. Listen, there's only two sides to it. Either God's side or the devil's side. You got to pick one. Because you got to pick one. You listen. You can't be on that line. You got to pick one.
My pastor, Bishop McCoy,
if you stay on that line.
Bishop McCoy used to say, "There's only two places you can go, heaven or hell, and you ain't gonna miss them both." So, people need to really wake up, for real, because the things that are going on in this country, the things that are going on in this world, it's all in the Bible. And prophecy is being filled. And the things that are going on, things that we've never heard of happening before. I mean, it's sickening. It makes you sick. It makes you want to cry. It makes you don't even want to listen to the news. Bombing babies. Hospitals, schools. People just start a war. You just start a war. And what the Bible say about war? There will be war and rumors of war.
Rumors of war. That's right.
And we live in it. We live in Bible times.
For this country to even back another country, to say, okay, they're our allies, so no, they're bombing babies. How much immunity, do you have that they're bombing babies, that they're killing babies? Okay, you know what? You got to answer that. This country's going to have to answer it. I tell people, this world is coming to an end. It's coming to an end. It's coming to an end.
Hold on, T. I got another caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning. Who's this?
My name's Lou. I'm calling from Boston, and I'm really concerned about, these illegal aliens that are staying all over the city in the hotels. And they're going to put an awful burden on the school system, on everything, on a whole social service safety net. And why should the money for our veterans and our poor and our kids go to people that just came across the border illegally? And I think there's a lot of African American households that are getting cheated, and I want to hear the candidate talk about that.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good
very
question.
much. I'm going to hang up and listen.
Thank you. Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, you can't pour from an empty cup. If we're not even helping the people of Boston, I don't understand how we're accommodating bringing in so many people. Like, the shelters are filled with undocumented migrants, and we just simply don't have room. And then, when crimes are committed by an undocumented migrant, the Boston police are not allowed to report it. They're not allowed to do anything about it because of the Boston Trust Act.
That makes no sense. So they can just go kill somebody and get away with it. But if I go kill somebody, I'm going to jail.
Literally, it's literally like a get out of jail free card.
That's sad.
They can commit crimes, and the Boston Trust Act prevents the police from communicating with ICE. Basically, they can't cooperate with immigration. So I actually want to end the Boston Trust Act.
Who created that act? Under what administration was that done?
I think that was created by Marty Walsh. I could be wrong.
I know we were considered a sanctuary city. I don't know if that's the same thing.
That is like Boston's sanctuary city law is the Trust Act. And I want to end it because we just can't afford to keep helping people that aren't from here.
I agree.
And it's not fair. It's like you just said, if you or I committed a crime, we'd be in jail. If they commit a crime, they can't do anything about it. Last year alone, the Boston police they just completely ignored 12 warrants that ICE sent to them. They sent them warrants to apprehend criminals that are here illegally, and the Boston police ignored it because they're literally, according to the Boston Trust Act, they're not allowed to cooperate with ICE. And
Wow.
these are like actual criminals, like murderers, pedophiles, drug dealers.
And they can't bring in any type of like federal police or state police or something like that. People can keep committing crimes while we get blamed for it. We get blamed for everything.
Exactly.
Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. Good morning, Sister Priscilla.
Good morning, Grace. How are you?
Good. I'm just calling to comment and thank you for having the candidate Vitale. I thought she, at the debate, she was for many of the things that our community needs. And I'm calling to say about the migrants who are coming over here. You can't attack the migrants when your Congress people have the borders open and they're walking over. So you got to attack your government who's making those decisions.
Exactly.
Well, I think, Catherine, aren't you one of the ones that protested at Michelle Wu's house?
Yes, I am.
And you got arrested, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm just going to say, I don't think it's right to go to nobody's house and protest. Now, City Hall, that's a different story because that's where she works at. So, I mean, when I protest Michelle, it's going to be on the 5th floor at City Hall. I'm not going to go to her house.
So
and if somebody comes to my house, they're going to get in trouble. So,
yeah,
we got 3 minutes.
Michelle Wu passed the law that you can protest, but I think it has to be after 9 a.m.
She closed down City Hall for 2 weeks, and that's why we originally went to her house. Just for the
yeah,
record.
but your government, which is in the White House, their policy is, and the reason why they're bringing the migrants over here is because the businesses need workers, and the schools. The schools are underpopulated. The Boston Public Schools underpopulated. My son went to Madison Park. They only had 5 kids or 6 kids in each classroom, and one plumbing program only had 1 kid. So they're lying about their numbers.
Right.
They need kids. So that's
you know
why
what? I think I'm out of time.
Yeah, and Mayor Wu already created a program for the migrants' children to plug them in to schools and child care centers where they're matching the children so they can be enrolled. But the schools are under-enrolled because parents are fed up. Like Vitaly, she's homeschooling with the Boston Public Schools. I, myself, personally, wouldn't send any child to Boston Public Schools. And our community needs to go and take a tour. They're about to have the open houses. You need to go in there and and tour the schools, because some of them are in just horrible conditions.
Well, you know what, Grace? I'm going to take you up on that. But I got 1 minute, and I got to give it to my guests. Go ahead, Catherine. 1 minute.
So I just want to add that, I did protest at the mayor's house, but she also had me arrested at City Hall. And if we remember, Mel King also protested at Kevin